Welcome back to Dad Knows. So today we're going to talk about the Gilded Age. What was the Gilded Age? Well, it's hard to nail down the exact dates. We kind of think of like the 1870s up to 1900, even into the early 1900s. But it was a period characterized by wealthy industrialists that kind of built the nation and used the nation's resources to really expand the gross domestic product of the United States, to kind of build the United States almost into what it became later on as we went in through that time. So we had four different, you may see we have 4 chairs here today. So we're going to have 4 guests. This is new for Dad Knows. 4 guests coming in. I'm going to have Rockefeller, Carnegie, Swift, and Vanderbilt. There are 4 titans of the Gilded Age. Are all 4 going to be here today to just talk a little bit about their contributions and how things went. So, and again, some people call them robber barons, some didn't, but we're going to bring them in today. So let's go ahead and get the robber barons in here now. So here we go. Robert.
Give us your stuff!
Not that kind of robbers, guys. You like I said, robber barons, not like literal.
Well, we are robbers.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna send you back, and then we're gonna bring you back in with the right stuff. All right, here we go.
Well, we are robbers.
Okay, sorry about that. Had a little confusion, I guess, with our props department and our not our actors, our actual real people from the past. So we'll get them back in here in just a second. Put this out of the way. And all right, so let's see if we can get them in here this time for real. Okay, that's better. That's better. I'm not terrified anymore. Okay, good. All right, so
Why were you terrified?
There were people with like swords and ski masks and axes and stuff. I don't know what was going on. They were headed over here to rob me.
Oh,
So, yeah.
That's crazy.
That's good. The Scotsman, you must be Carnegie. Is that
Yeah,
right? Andrew
Carnegie.
I see. All right then, shut it. All right. And who are you, sir?
Rockefeller.
You're Mr. Rockefeller, John D. Rockefeller. How about you?
Swift.
Swift, Gustavus Swift, and that makes you
Vanderbilt.
Cornelius Vanderbilt, the Commodore. All right, well, thank you, gentlemen, so much for coming in. I know you guys are all incredibly busy men leading your vast financial empires and industrial empires. I mean, the 4 people here, the amount of just wealth and industrial power that's sitting here is just shocking. I can hardly breathe. It's like it's taking up so much space. Lots of money, that's right. Okay, so first off, let's talk about some of the things y'all did. So you guys did a great job to develop the resources of the United States. Let's start with Vanderbilt first, because you kind of led the way before some of these other guys. You were into what did you primarily start in? Shipping?
I started in shipping, and I would basically sell things for a very low price so everybody else couldn't afford to do it, so I would make all the money, and then I'd sell my business to them and go somewhere else.
Oh, yes, I heard that about you. Like, you would undercut the competition. Like, you kind of drive them into just going like, look, we got to pay this guy to make him go away, right? And then you go away, and then you would do the same thing. You'd like move up the river and pick up in somebody else. You loved it. That was awesome. So you did that, and then you moved into railroads later on. Built a huge rail industry. Kind of helped to just expand all across the country. So that's awesome. And I really love the way you did that, where you would just kind of like, come in just under the price they were paying, and then go in. All right, so let's move on to Carnegie, Mr. Carnegie.
Yes.
I'll say we'll have to speak Scottish to Carnegie. So Carnegie, you were U.S. Steel. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
Lots of steel.
So lots of steel. So you started out in, I think, as a railroad clerk somewhere.
Railroad, yes.
That's right. And then you worked your way up into the steel industry.
Way up,
right? And you had U.S. Steel. Was that the name of your company?
Yes.
A huge company. It was eventually broken up due to some antitrust laws. That's no good, right?
Yeah.
But you still have lots of
You
money.
was there,
Did you know at one time you were the wealthiest man in America?
I was.
And considered one of the wealthiest men in modern history. Unfortunately, there's someone else sitting here at this table that surpassed your wealth.
Who was it?
We're going to get to him in just a second. But
I want to know.
So anyway, all right. Well, thank you for that. We'll be back to you in just a second. All right, so that brings me to, speaking of the wealthiest man, where's Mr. Rockefeller? Is that you?
Yes,
Mr. John D. Rockefeller. All right, so you prospered in the thing that we call black gold. What is that? Oil, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so you were an oil man, built oil up. You constructed a business called Standard Oil, right?
Yes.
So your Standard Oil was just this massive, and it actually also had to get busted up just because the government thought it was too big, had too much of a monopoly. But when that got busted up, actually the share prices of all the individual companies actually were worth more than the Standard Oil was together, which is what vaulted you into just this crazy amount of money. Your net worth at that time was actually valued at $418 billion if you considered like 2019, 2020 dollars. So $500 billion, which at the time represented like 2% of the entire gross domestic product of the United States. So like one guy was doing, that was all you, right? Just dominating that. That's fantastic. And some of those companies still exist today. ExxonMobil and Chevron are part of those descendants. So so you were known for that, just super wealthy. That brings us to you, Gustavus Swift, a name that may not be as familiar as the rest of these guys are to people, but equally important, because what is it that you did?
I made ice railroads that I could ship meat everywhere.
Aha! Right. So if you like to have readily available meat, which I think I do, do you?
I love me some haggis.
That's right. Well, I don't think he shipped any haggis. But,
It didn't.
no, probably
I
not.
don't like them.
But so at the time of Swift, there were all the cows. Where were all the cows in America?
The plains.
They were out in the plains. The cows were in the middle of America. And then and so if I was on the East Coast and I wanted to have some cow, what was the problem?
Well, it would be bad by the time it got.
Yeah, it was too far. So you could slaughter it, and then it would have to be shipped all the way from like Chicago to say here in Atlanta, and it would be bad before it got here. Or the alternative would be you could ship the live cows to Georgia and then slaughter them in Georgia, but that cost a lot of money, and some of the cows would die in the process. So you figured out how to ship refrigerated meat, which, I mean, who doesn't like to go to Wendy's and get a cheeseburger? I'm sure I do, yeah.
What's Wendy's?
Oh yeah, sorry, y'all don't know about that yet, so never mind.
I don't like the name Wendy, so I said I didn't like it.
Okay, so you guys though, we mentioned before that we called y'all robber barons, right? So a lot of people refer to y'all as robber barons because of, some people would think, ruthless business practices, right? Like Mr. Vanderbilt here with his, undercutting the competition. We got Rockefeller was the same way, just kind of ruthless building his oil company, acquiring others, and Carnegie also, just all of that. You not so much, squeezing out the competition, but you were not really known for having like the best practices for your employees. Anyway, that being said, all four of you, do you guys consider yourselves robber barons or bad guys?
No.
No.
We're philanthropists.
Philanthropists, that's
Yeah.
right. You guys were massive philanthropists. So all of you were, I think, one, we got Vanderbilt here. There's a Vanderbilt University, so that was you, right? Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah.
figured.
You haven't done that yet. You're going to do that eventually. University of Chicago was started by one of you. I think you, Rocky, that's you. Yeah. Several other schools, Carnegie and Swift. They're like the YMCA. Libraries everywhere, all over the place. You guys did all of that. So I think you guys get a bad rap with calling you guys robber barons.
Yeah, they're so mean.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming in and talking to us today and sharing this with us. I'm going to go ahead and send y'all back so you can continue being, the captains of industry that you are and ruthlessly squashing your competition while growing your bottom line. So that's good. But also getting ready to donate lots of money to charity later on. So that's good. So I'm going to send y'all out. Thank you so much for coming in, and we'll see you later. All right, well, that was awesome. I can say I've never been in a room with just that much wealth and business acumen and just crowded out. So those were the guys, the forerunners to the famous people we have today, like, say, a Jeff Bezos of Amazon or Elon Musk of Tesla, Bill Gates of Microsoft, Steve Jobs with Apple. So guys like that, these guys kind of set the standard for what those guys have done industrially or, technology or whatever it is. So, but really, again, set America on the path to becoming the industrial power that it would be into the 20th century, which is going to play a huge role in America and also on the world stage. So we thank you so much for that. So that's basically all we have today. We're going to have a quick commercial break from our sponsor, and then we'll see y'all next week. Again, this has been Dad Knows. If you liked it, great. Like it, subscribe it, tell your friends about it. If you didn't like it, nothing I can do for you. Anyway, quick word from our sponsors, and we'll see y'all next week. Do you have a pesky business competitor that you'd like to drive out of business? Well, Undercut Industries has the answers for you. Our consultants can show you all of the best ways to drive your competitor out of business. We'll come in, we'll show you how to charge less at a loss until they can go away. Or you can get all the resources they need and they can't ever get what they want, and you can just buy all their stuff and then they'll go out of business that way. There's all kinds of different ways that we can help you. And if none of those things work, we'll always resort to, I don't know, other means. That's right. Undercut Industries will take care of your competition.